My name is Arteh Odjidja. I'm a photographer, portrait photographer based in London. Today we are in the exhibition that I put together for the Rise for Bayelsa campaign. And this is a campaign to talk about the oil spills that are happening in the Delta region of Nigeria and the environmental impact that it's having on the people and the local environment. And it's been going on for many, many decades. Since 1956. I feel like this is an opportunity for me to really tell stories that maybe haven't been heard, to represent people that aren't represented, and also to stretch myself creatively as well, to really tell stories like this in a truthful, but also in a impactful and engaging way. I think when I was first approached to work on this project, I thought to myself, I didn't actually know where Bayelsa was, if I'm being honest with you. It's very quite remote, southern part of Nigeria, but I was excited to go and basically find out what's happening over there. I think as a creative person, you're always curious about stories and what's happening around the world. You know, it's one thing to live in London and to live this kind of Western lifestyle, but to understand how other people around the world are being impacted by policies, by governments and things like that was really actually quite interesting to me. So I wanted to try and find a creative way to, first of all, discover the truth for myself, so do the research myself about what's happening there, and then try and tell those stories in the most truthful and engaging way that I could. You know, oil was supposed to be something that was going to enrich a country like Nigeria, something that's going to provide opportunities. But for some people, it's been the complete opposite. For the people who are the poorest, in the most remote places in the world, you know, it's really kind of been something that's impacted their lives and their generations for, you know, in a quite negative way. When you meet these people, like the local people who are suffering from the impacts of oil spills, you know, whether it's through the vegetation, their yield, they're farmers and their yields have reduced, or they're fishermen and fisherwomen and they're not now finding it very hard to find fish to both feed themselves and to sell, the children playing in contaminated water. I think when you see those things, it gives you a great sense of empathy, but also responsibility as well. So you want to, as a creative person, I always want to empower people. So for me, to learn their stories and to really understand where they're coming from was integral to how I took the photos of the people. Anyone who grew up in the 80s, like I did, grew up with the images of the poor African, right? So a lot of people still have that in the back of their minds, you know, Africa's poor, they need help, right? What we're talking about here is also, let's say, people in very rural places. But I don't like to tell that story that they're powerless. I don't like to frame it that way. I like to see it as, yes, they don't have all the means or the resources or even the platform to speak, but they have something to say. And I think that was missing from the narrative of like the 80s when you watched the Live 8s and you saw those, or Live Aid concerts, things like that. You just saw the poor child with flies all over them, and Africa looked like a powerless, deprived continent, right? And I think I see people differently. I see, yes, things aren't perfect, but they have a voice and they have opinions and they have a vision for their own lives and their own futures. And I like to tell stories that really show that side, that other dimension to the story.